No, it's because
Oh, okay.
yeah. Yep, we're in. Okay, so we'll just wait and see if we get some people on here. Shit. Give me the dishcloth, quick. Hurry, 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 hurry. Crap. Well, fart.
Well, it's because you tilted it and it's full.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for the advice. Oh, crap. Running all over the place. We got anybody? Oh, we got a couple of people on as they watch me clean up the mess I just made. Hello, whoever. We're just waiting for a few more people to join us, and after I clean up this...
It's because the glass is full.
Yeah, some of my pants. Did I get it on the floor? No, this is okay. Alright, dishcloth back. Now, I want to tune in here to see the comments on the phone, so... Get that.
3.
We have 3 now. Yay! We're a little later tonight, and it is Saturday, not Friday, but I did warn people that we wouldn't be doing this until Saturday. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Just trying to get hooked up here. Okay, let's see. And there we are there. And see if we see. And see if we see. Mute the sound. And how do I see comments? Chat. There we go. Okay, so Crafton Bev says, hello, Stephen Walter. How's everything going? It's going fine, Bev. How are things going along with you?
Take a drink out of your glass.
Yeah, okay, I will.
It's going to overflow.
Yeah, look, here's that. Yeah, well, all right, fine. Oh, now I'm going to have a daiquiri slurpee headache. Okay, so we've got 3 people, and we've got Marie says, hello, are you all packed and ready to go? Nope.
No.
Haven't packed anything yet, Marie.
I don't pack till like the day we're going. Throw a few things in the suitcase and then go.
I'm going to start packing tomorrow. We don't leave until Monday night. Our flight goes out about 8:50 at night, so we got lots of time. Bev says, doing good here, working on a lot of Halloween projects to get done by Monday morning. Why do you have to have them done by Monday morning? Halloween's not till October 31st, or are you doing a lot of stuff?
Having a Halloween party or something?
Yeah, having a party or something? We'll see. And how many we got now? We've got 5? 5 people. Come on, people, let's beat last week's record. I think the most we had last week was 17. Although we've had a lot of views on the rebroadcast. We've had 180 some or something. Where is it? I have it up here. Let me see. Looking at this on our big screen as well. That was last one. That was... Where is it? There we are. 185 views in a week. Not bad. I mean, it's not viral yet. Let's see. Deb says, good evening, Stephen and Walter. Hi, Deb.
Hi.
And Bev says, my grandkids are here and they want to help me decorate my apartment. Ah, okay.
Oh, yeah, that might help.
We don't have any grandkids.
And we don't decorate for Halloween much.
No.
Get the plastic pumpkin out the night of Halloween, and well, last few years anyway, because the subdivision we live in it doesn't have very many kids in it, so we get less and less kids.
So more and more candy for me. Yeah, we don't purposely buy our Halloween candy either until almost at the last minute because we might eat it.
Yeah, there's that possibility.
It's not a might. We probably would. Actually, we bought a new pumpkin though this year, a real elaborate one that has spooky sounds and it's motion detective, or it has a motion detector in it. So when somebody walks up near it, it starts to do all this stuff. So, well, it beats my pumpkin from that I've had for 30 years, I think, from Walmart or
From
where.
Woco.
Oh, was it Woco? And that doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah, I know.
It hasn't existed in
hasn't
decades.
existed in years. Since Walmart brought them out.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got 8 people now, so let's just get into it. This one probably won't be as long as the last ones.
By the way, we're drinking strawberry daiquiris.
Oh yes, fresh strawberry daiquiris.
Fresh Ontario strawberries.
Fresh Ontario strawberries, which you can get any time of the year, apparently. This is not strawberry season.
No, I know, but it seems the last few years they've been growing them here
Dorothy,
all summer.
Dorothy says, "Hi guys, hope you're well." And we are Dorothy. And she says, "Yum." Yep, this sip's for you, Dorothy. Yeah, that's good, except they're so cold. He uses crushed ice in them that it's like drinking one of those big gulps from 7-Eleven or something. You get a head rush.
Yeah, you slurp too much of it.
Okay, so let's talk. What are we going to talk about this week? Well, I think first thing was this is Walter's whole first week of retirement. And so what did you do?
No,
Yeah, that's for sure. Sleep.
No. I've been planning for the trip. I've been doing, figuring out where we're going to go.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, we'll come back and talk a little bit more about our plans for the trip in a minute. So, how does it feel to be retired?
Nice. I'm not worried about work for a change.
Oh, no, nothing feeling strange?
Usually I end on a Friday, but I'm still thinking about work all weekend long. So it's kind of nice not to have to worry about it.
Yeah. I'm just looking here. Melly Art says, "Hello from the future. 1:50 a.m. Sunday here in Finland."
Oh, wow.
Okay. Dorothy says, or Deborah says, "Congrats, Walter." And Dorothy says, "Buffering now and then." Yeah, that's not something that we can do anything about. I've watched other live videos, and that happens sometimes. It has to do with everybody's connection and things like that. So sorry that might be happening, but that's out of our control because that depends on internet providers, where you are in the world, all kinds of things like that, I guess. Hopefully it won't be too bad. All right, so you survived your first week of retirement.
Yeah, and we went to the show at 1:30 in the afternoon on Friday, which is something I've never done.
Yes, that was kind of different. We've never done that before. So, well, we did go in the middle of the week, on Tuesday, and I did a live video earlier this week, and some of you may have seen that, about Paper Crate Capers, which is a scrapbook store in a place about an hour's north of us. The place is called Aurelia. And I have been there before, and I think I did a while ago another video on stuff I got there, but we went up there on Tuesday, and I just love that place. It is so junky looking, but the products are not junky, but you have to dig. Everything's like piled high. I don't know how the lady does her inventory. It's impossible. I don't think she does one, but she's got some neat things. She has a lot of Tim Holtz products that I have only ever seen online. And some of them are Tim Holtz products that have been discontinued too. So
that's probably why she doesn't do an inventory.
Yeah, probably with that. But I mean, they're ones you can't get that that I want. So like that paper valise that I bought.
Well, you were showing that Holly stencil or whatever. You said that it's difficult to get.
The only stencil that Ranger discontinued from the Tim Holtz line was the one, number 15, the Holly Bough. They discontinued it 3 years ago, and it was impossible to get. You couldn't order it, nothing. I found it on Amazon. Those stencils usually run about $8 a piece Canadian. I paid $25 to get that stencil on Amazon at the time, but I have every one of Tim Holtz's stencils, and I didn't want my set to be broken up, so I paid the $25 to get that stencil. But it doesn't make sense to me why they would cancel that. Why that one got discontinued. I mean,
maybe there was somebody else that made one that was similar, and they were threatening lawsuit or something.
I don't know. They never explained that. But anyways, if anybody knows about that, Melly Art says, "What are you boys drinking today?" Well, Melly, we'd like to say that this is a non-alcoholic beverage. No, we don't want to say that. It is a daiquiri. It is a strawberry daiquiri, frozen strawberry daiquiri made with fresh strawberries and...
Fresh strawberries, crushed ice, limoncello, and some vodka.
The secret's in the limoncello. Okay, and if you don't know what limoncello is, it's an Italian type of, well, lemony drink.
It's a lemon. It's a lemon. What do you call it? Liqueur.
Like a liqueur, yeah. Actually, it's
Actually, it's a little bit more potent than a liqueur. Liqueurs
Yeah.
are usually about 20% alcohol, and I think this is like 30% alcohol or something.
yeah, and it's actually limoncello is really good in champagne too.
Yeah, it's really potent.
Yeah, you pretty much a couple of those, and
Limoncello with champagne is a little bit.
yeah, get you
You
going.
can't drink too many of those.
So, anyways, we went up to Aurelia. I dropped about $100 on stuff, and you can see all of that. There's a video, if you haven't seen it already, where I talk about my haul from there. We had lunch in a place we've had lunch there before. It's a microbrewery kind of place. That was okay. And then, see, we had to go up on Tuesday because every other Tuesday our house cleaner comes. And I don't like to be here when she's here cleaning. And usually Walter would be at work. And I'd go out and shop. I'd go out, have lunch, do shopping, things like that, stuff I had to get or whatever, and do all that. And by the time I got that all done, usually she was done and I could come back home. I said to Walter on the weekend, I said, so Tuesday, Stacy comes, our house cleaner, what are we going to do? So I said, we got to get out. So we decided to go to Aurelia because it was a nice day.
Though I have on occasion been home when she was, because I'd either have to work from home and she'd work around me, or there was one time I injured my leg and she had to work around me. So
yes, that was a fun time. Yeah, he slipped on an icy step out of our hot tub one night in December back. How many years ago has that been now?
that was 2007.
It's been that long?
Yeah,
10 years ago?
10 years ago.
Holy crap!
And
how
I
time
slipped,
flies.
and I did a major damage to my leg. I slipped and hit the corner of a step just underneath where my kneecap is, and it severed the tendon that holds your kneecap to the bottom of your leg.
Ouch!
And so I had to be immobile for 8 weeks after the operation to put it back together. And
And you
so I was
didn't do anything.
basically at home all that time, so she had to work around me.
Yeah, well, he couldn't really do a heck of a lot. I relearned how to cook with Campbell's soup while he was, for something different and quick, because I'd be coming home from work and having to do dinner every night, and
Well, after a while, I was able to stand up enough to.
well, yeah,
cook,
eventually.
so.
But anyways, that's water under the bridge. Let's just look here. What's Meliart says sounds good. Have only a cup of coffee. Put a little Bailey's in it. Ian says, oh hi Ian. Ian's here, and sorry, been doing my Inktober things. Okay, yeah, I see a lot of people are into the Inktober stuff. I'm not, because
What's that?
it's drawing
Oh.
with inks and doing a different one every day, kind of a thing, and it's great. It's great inspiration and stuff like that, but I can't draw. So it would just be ink blot every day for me doing it, I think. Oh, we're up to 12. Yay. Let's see if we can push that envelope. Let's see if we can get over 17. We're at 13. Yes, yes. Okay. So last night, now the reason we didn't come on last night is because, as you know from my vlogs, we volunteer at the art gallery in our town, and it's the first Friday of every month is something called RMG Fridays. RMG is the name of the art gallery. It's the Robert McLaughlin Gallery. And we are gallery attendants. I do nutshell tours and talk to people about the art that's there, and the things I don't know I make up for them, but they don't know. And if I catch anybody there that knows more about the art than I do, I kind of wander away. And Walter likes to tell people they can't have alcohol in, because it's a licensed event. They can't have their...
Well, what happens is that in the past they could have alcohol anywhere, but in the present show that they've got, there's 2 rooms where there are actually 3 rooms where they're not allowed to drink in, and so I have to make sure they don't see the signs.
He's in there lopping off arms, kicking old ladies downstairs, you know. No, I thought that one woman.
I had one woman
she was
and
pissed.
she was not happy.
I mean, you said it in the nicest of way. You didn't say, "Hey, bitch, get out of here with that drink." You were very nice to her.
Actually, and I told the one that couldn't come in, and I think he was might have been the husband or friend of that curator. Or
the chief curator of the museum.
No, yeah, the chief curator of the museum, but also the one that was with that was the guest curator.
Oh, her too. Well, it doesn't matter. The rules are the rules.
Rules are the rules, right? So
they're the ones that set the rules. They're the curators. Well, they set them. So
and the way I look at it is, if you make an exception for one person, then why can't anybody else have it?
Yeah, and I'm just looking to see here. It says, "A good evening from Munich, Stephen and Walter. Hello, everyone." That's Evie, and Ian says something. Gallery Bouncer. Spell check. Gallery bouncer. Yeah, that's basically what he is. He's a gallery bouncer.
Make sure little kids aren't running around and
you had a couple last night that were running around.
There were a while. And make sure nobody touches the art. However, the curator was kind of leaning into the art last night, and of course couldn't very well say to her, "Hey, get off the art."
Yeah. Well, you could have said that.
I probably should have.
I mean, what's she going to do? Fire us? We're volunteers. But it was really packed last night. What they usually have on RMG Fridays, besides the arts there, they have entertainment, and they have local groups come in, and musical groups. They usually have some restaurant or food place that's featured that are selling their wares there, so people get to know them as well. There's a lot going on, and I don't know how many we had last night, but I would say
think there would be around. I think my guess is they had about 300 last night.
Yeah, I think it was around 300 last night.
It wasn't as much as the 400 we've had before, but it was about. It was the area where they did the music was pretty packed when it was playing.
Yeah, I'd say probably about 300 as well with that. But it's a fun night. People seem to like it. It's free. Well, the booze isn't. You have to pay for the wine or the beer if you want that. Or the food. But
the entertainment's free, and they can come look at the art. It's free. So, I mean, they do take donations at the door, but you don't have to donate.
No. Well, the art gallery doesn't get a lot of money, so whatever they can get from donations and that is always appreciated. But the displays they have up right now are from the permanent collection, and the art gallery has about 4,600 pieces in its collection, and a lot of these pieces have not been out for a long time. They principally focus on Canadian art, so they own quite a few pieces of the Group of Seven. If you're not Canadian, you might not know who the Group of Seven are, but they were 7 men painters at the turn of, in about the 1920s in Canada, who did a lot of landscapes and really established a unique artistic style that is very much associated with Canadian art to this day. So we have a lot of their original works, but we have works from also another group called the Painters 11, which were a local group in the 1950s who started experimenting with abstract art. And at that point in time, there was a lot of controversy about doing abstract art. A lot of serious artists did not consider it art at all. They considered it garbage. And even to this day, a lot of people consider abstract art not art. But this particular group put Canada on the map when it came to abstract art as well, and they all came from this area that we live in. And
they have a lot of pieces.
And we have a lot. Well, we have Canada's largest collection of Painters 11. Well, naturally, because they came from our area, I suppose. But one of the highlights of this show is they pulled out of the vault. It has never been displayed, and they've had it for decades. An original Andy Warhol. It's of Mick Jagger, and it's not a print, it's an original. I don't know how they managed to get it.
It's a silk screen.
Is it a silk screen?
Yeah.
Is it a silk screen?
Yeah, you look at the piece, paper thing with it.
But it's an original, it's not a print.
It's signed and everything.
Yeah, it's signed and everything by him, so it's an original, so it's worth a lot of money. If you like Andy Warhol, I mean, personally, Andy Warhol's art, in my mind, wasn't that great, but what made his art famous was because he was such a weirdo, and he was a celebrity figure.
And somebody felt that his art was worthwhile.
Yeah, and so I guess that tells you how art becomes great. because really, his stuff is okay, but it's not masterpiece of anything.
Yeah, it looks interesting.
Yeah, well, he was a graphic artist. He was in advertising.
It's different than anything else,
I guess. But anyways, a lot of people flocked to see that as well. But they always seem, a lot of the people seemed in these installations this time to be spending more time with the art than on some of the installations.
Well, maybe also because there were some more famous paint artists there, like
excuse me,
like Lauren Harris and
yeah, Lauren Harris is a member of the Group of Seven. Did a lot of mountain landscapes. I don't know what I managed to swallow, but it's choking me to death. So anyways, that was last night. And then after that, we usually go to a little restaurant in the town next door to us to have pitcher beer nachos at 10 o'clock at night, you know. And if you saw my vlog this week, yeah, that when I said fat at 60, that might be why. Okay, so anything else you want to bring up about this past week? Anything interesting? Aside the fact that you lost your coat.
Yeah, well, no, I lost my coat. My favorite coat.
Yeah.
I don't know what I did with it. I think I might have left it in a restaurant somewhere, but so far three of the restaurants that I've recently visited said they don't have a coat and they're lost and found. So I went looking for a spring coat in the fall. Good luck for that. So I did finally find one that I sort of like. I still don't like it as much as my old one. But it's frustrating looking for something.
Well, yeah, but you want to know something? My theory is it's still in this house.
I don't know where it could be.
He never puts anything back. He never puts an item in the same place twice. Like his car keys. There's a hook inside their coat cover.
I haven't lost them in a long time.
Oh, yeah, right. Constantly looking for his wallet, for his rings, for his car keys, for a coat, for his underwear. I don't know. If you put things in the same spot. But,
yeah, I know.
But that would be too easy. Ian says, my first go at going to the Tate Modern was hard for me to look around. Yeah, we've been to the Tate Modern, too.
I didn't really like that gallery that much.
No, but when we go this time to England, what's that new gallery? It wasn't there when we went in 2014.
It was the Design Museum or something, and it's, I don't know what it's got in it, but it
looks kind of interesting.
But it opened in 2016. Supposedly there was a smaller version of it near London Bridge, or either Tower Bridge or London Bridge, but it wasn't very well visited because a lot of people didn't know about it. So,
Meliart says we also have Kasma Modern Art Museum at Helsinki. Have been there a few times, and I just don't get it. Yeah, so I assume what we're talking about is abstract art, or actually,
I never really liked it that much when I went to it when I was younger, but since going to the RMG on a more regular basis, I think I've developed more of an appreciation for it.
I think because once I got into art journaling and mixed media, things like that, I think I had a better appreciation for abstract art then.
I mean, there's some things that you see and you kind of wonder.
Well,
really.
Yeah. Well, that's
but I guess that's just the way it is.
It's people will stand there and they'll look at abstract art and go, oh, so you just stand back 2 feet and throw paint on the canvas. Anybody can do that. And you know, I used to be one of those kind of people too that would thought the same thing in my head. Oh, look, 3 attractive stripes. Why did the Canadian government pay $3.2 million for that? The huge painting of 3 stripes that hangs now in what?
The National Gallery.
The National Gallery in Canada with it. But sit down and try, if you've never ever tried, to do abstract art. It's not easy. It's really not. So, and Ian says, I love doing modern abstract art, but don't always connect with it. Yeah, well, you know, it could be the color, it could be the line, the geometric shapes, whatever in it. You know, not every piece of art's going to appeal to everybody. That's the reason it's an art world. That's why people criticize it.
Last year when we were in Australia, we went into one place and they had all these bowls full of water.
Right. Oh yeah.
And I'm the one that's telling people in an art gallery not to touch the
Well,
art,
that was
right?
good.
So, but I didn't realize they had water in the bowls, right? So they just like were looking, they were sort of concave. I don't know why I did it, but I put my finger and touched the water, and the water all started rippling. And the gallery attendant that was there was too busy looking at her phone, so she didn't see it. But she walked around and noticed that the water was rippling in one of the poles, and she was looking around. But it was
You're
me.
saying,
I don't know. It's me.
it's like, like in a grocery store, if you accidentally knock something off a shelf, you move very quickly away from it and hope that the old lady down the end is going to get blamed for it. So, yeah, so anyways, let's see. Anything else that's happened this week? Well, one thing that's coming up, tomorrow we're going off for Thanksgiving dinner to my sister's place. And she's got her in-laws coming, and we got to pick up my mother for that as well. And the kids are her kids are home from university for the weekend. So everybody will be all together.
Well, that's because it's Canadian Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Canadian Thanksgiving.
I know the Americans have it later.
Well,
so.
theirs doesn't come until November.
Yeah.
Like, what? It's pretty much the end of November.
Yeah, isn't that where Black Friday is?
Yeah, the Black Friday is then and everything like that. No, so that's got that. Okay, so another thing, though, that was interesting today, we went to the Butter Tart Fest in Oshawa. I love butter tarts, okay? I consider myself a connoisseur.
And they're a Canadian thing.
Yeah, and butter tarts are a Canadian food. You can get them in other parts of the world, but they are a Canadian food. And butter tarts can be made in many different ways, and I'm always on the search for the ultimate butter tart. And I can just eat those things like candy, which is why I don't buy them too often, because I will eat them.
I can take or leave them.
Yeah, well, whatever. Well, you've made them before,
I've
too.
made them before, yeah.
So, we went to the Butter Tart Fest. You couldn't get a butter tart. There wasn't any butter tarts.
Nobody was selling them. Well, actually, I think somebody was there selling them.
I think there was one
But they ran out, so.
And it looked like the way their booth was set up that they probably didn't have that many anyways to start with. So if you wanted a cup of coffee, you get a cup of coffee. If you wanted a sandwich or, a burger or something that they had, you could get that. If you wanted a piece of jewelry, you could get that. But you couldn't get a butter tart. Only in Oshawa. So maybe it was misprinted on their advertisement. Maybe it wasn't a butter tart fest. Maybe it was a butter tart less fest. I don't know. But no butter tarts there. So what are people saying here? 931 Thumb says, it's nice to see Walter more relaxed and talking to us. I love these chats. Keep them coming, guys. Okay, glad that you like them. And Ian says, I love Piet Moder... I know that's an artist. And I've never had a butter tart. Oh, Ian. Yes, I don't imagine butter tarts are something that are that you can get in England. We'll have to look when we're in London.
I doubt that. I know butter tarts are Canadian.
They're a Canadian thing.
And my parents came from Holland. I know they didn't have them there. So.
Is there any butter in a butter tart?
Yes, there is.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember exactly what's in it.
Because it's mostly corn syrup
corn syrup
or maple syrup.
If somebody's from the States, it's similar to pecan pie, only a little sweeter.
And not as thick and no pecans.
Right? Usually they have raisins in them.
I love that part. That's why you don't like them, because they have raisins in them.
I'm not fond. Well, I mean, it's okay. And so it's usually corn syrup and brown sugar and butter, and I'm not sure what else. And you cook them, and you bake them, and they get all fizzy up. And when they settle down, there's this semi-transparent layer of this corn syrup and brown sugar in it, and they are very sweet.
Evie says, "Is this like a cake or a cookie?"
It's a tart, like a little mini pie, and I don't know, Europeans, I'm not sure if you know, but like, in Canada we have pies, in America they have pies, and it is a flour and shortening and salt crust, and
that's the pastry.
That's the pastry, and it's like I'm not sure. Like a.
You're doing a wonderful
I'm
job
not
of describing
sure.
the butter tart.
Yeah. What do you call it?
It
has a filling in it. You put.
But the filling is on the runny side.
Mm-hmm.
It's very syrupy. They're very, very sweet. And this is where the problem comes with butter tarts. If they have not been made properly, the sugar can crystallize out in them, and there's nothing worse, in my opinion, than biting into a butter tart that crunches. Or they can be too runny, so the fact is you bite into them and you'll literally be wearing it. They'll be running, sticky stuff will be running up your arm. Stay away from bees at that point. Or the pastry in them sucks bad. Walter makes good pastry. He makes good pies with that. In fact, when we first met and he made a pie, the first time he ever made a pie that my mother's had ever had a piece of, she says, well, my mother always claimed my grandmother, her mother, made the best pies ever. But she always told me, because she taught me how to make pastry, but she always said, you don't use shortening in pastry, you use lard. Lard will make it flakier, and you only roll out your pastry once. If you have to roll it out a second time, throw it away, start over again, it'll be tough. So then Walter makes the pie. And my mother says to him, oh, this is good. She says, this is better than my mother's. And she says, so what's your recipe? She says, you must have used lard. And Walter said, no. Where did the recipe come from?
It came from the Crisco box at the time.
Which is shortening.
And I've always used it ever since. And all it is flour, shortening, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of water to combine it. And then you just combine all the ingredients and then roll it out and put it in your shell.
Yeah, and he rolls it out more than once. If he has to, comes out flaky, it's great every time with it. So, anyways.
And actually, that recipe is no longer on the Crisco box. Do you have a different recipe?
Oh.
But.
Did you try the different recipe?
No, it's got vinegar in it. I don't put vinegar in it.
I have heard of that, of people putting vinegar in the pastry, but I don't know. But anyways, looking here, Evie says, is that like a cake or cookie? And then Ian says, it looks a bit like a Bakewell tart. I don't know what a Bakewell tart is, Ian. But then Dorothy says, sounds like like syrup tart. Yes, it is. It's a syrup that's in it. Yeah. I mean, a true butter tart can be made with something called corn syrup or with maple syrup. Corn syrup's a little thicker than maple syrup, though, so then you have to thicken up the syrup with it. But people do all kinds of different combinations to make these. And Ian says, or maybe a trickle tart.
Treacle tart. That's probably what it is. I don't. I've never had one, but that sort of sounds like what it might be.
I've never had a treacle tart either, but I've heard of them. But I think that's probably the closest thing to a butter tart with it. But they are Canadian, so if you ever come to Canada, look for a butter tart.
Actually, maybe next time on the blog we should buy a couple and just show them.
Mm-hmm. Right? Well, that's what I want to do today. Yeah. Today we went down to the Butter Tart Fest, and I thought, okay, I'll get one butter tart from each spot, and we'll have a taste test when we come home. As I said, no butter tarts.
So we will in a future session show what a butter tart is.
Yeah. Evie says, sounds really yummy if it's done the right way. Yes, they are. They're addictive. They're absolutely delicious, and they are just loaded with calories because there's a lot of sugar in them. Okay, so that was the Butter Tartless Festival. So let's see what else we have. What are we watching on YouTube? Well, last week I talked a little bit about the Granny Potty Mouth, so I don't know if anybody went and checked her out. She is a little bit, well, I don't find her offensive, but some people might because the language that comes out of her face. I find that
after a couple of her videos that it's sort of the same old.
Yeah. And but there's another guy, he does a lot of parodies. He's an American. His name is Randy Rainbow, and he does a lot of parodies on what's happening with the government. The American government right now, and they're done as musicals. The guy has obviously had training in musical theater. And his production quality is fairly high on these videos that he makes. So, but they're funny. They are very funny. And needless to say, he does umpteen million of them about Trump. Well, I mean, every day Trump gives somebody something else to criticize or to make fun of. So, I mean, every time he opens his mouth, sorry if I'm offending any Americans out there, but really, he's a shithead. There's just no two ways about it. And what scares me about that man is that he's standing up against another crazy man on the other side of the world in North Korea. Two crazies do not make a sane person, okay? Two crazies with nuclear weapons makes me a little bit afraid. I hope there's some common sense, or some people around both of these idiots will knock some common sense into their heads. Because, I mean, it's like two little boys out there fighting for territory, you know, or going on, my dad's bigger than your dad and he can beat you up, or whatever. It's just childish. The whole thing's just childish. Sue's here. Just made it. Hi, Walter and Steve and everyone. Hi,
Hello.
Susie Q. And so, Randy Rainbow, so check him out. On TV, we've started to watch this series that's been on. It's a British series, I think. It's been on for several seasons. It's called Ripper Street. And it's like in the time period of Jack the Ripper, but it's supposedly after that all stopped, but it's reoccurring again, but there's some mystery around it. Not sure yet whether I really like it
We
or
only
not.
watched the first one, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we only saw
Yeah.
the first episode, but give it a try with a couple more. A lot of times these series takes like 2 or 3 episodes to get into them. But it seems kind of interesting. And then on Friday, as Walter said, we went to the show in the afternoon to see Blade Runner 2049 because Blade Runner is Walter's favorite movie of all time.
Well, no, it isn't my favorite.
I thought it was.
It is one of my favorite movies.
Oh, okay, you've branched out. All right. It was...
I like sci-fi, so.
So what do you think? What's on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give it?
I thought it dragged a bit.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And
It's
I
long.
thought it's long. It's 2 hours.
It's
and
almost
40
3
minutes.
hours, yeah.
And it was okay, but I like the original better.
Yeah, I thought the
And,
original was better.
Maybe also because of the time period, like the time period when the original came out, it seemed more exotic or more the special effects and everything. Whereas now, every movie has a million special effects in it and stuff like that. That none of them really
And this one was in 3D.
wow me. Too much.
I'm so sick of 3D movies. I don't like wearing the stupid glasses, for one thing.
We could have gotten a non-3D version.
Oh, yeah? Well, yeah, but that one, you kind of figure, well, they're
I
probably...
figure if it's in 3D, I might as well see it in
Yeah.
3D, right? So.
Well, it's not so much that I hate them that much. I just, after a while, I find actually the glasses sometimes...
Well, I found
are a
the
bit of a
3D
problem,
effects in
lads.
this one weren't really
They were subtle.
very subtle and very...
Just gave you more depth.
Yeah.
You know, in
They weren't
scenes.
really... like, you know, the old ones where they'd shoot an arrow at you type of thing, so...
Yeah, I know. So anyway, so that's what we saw this week. So, now, out of all of the questions that were sent to us, we've answered most of those questions. Ian says, so that is Walt's fave sci-fi movie. Well, now he's claiming it's not his favorite. It's one of his favorites.
no, I mean, I liked Space Odyssey 2001, even though it kind of drags too, but actually, that's probably my all-time favorite. And I liked Rollerball, the original. And,
Yeah, see, Rollerball I never really cared for.
I kind of lean towards sci-fi, and usually kind of weird movies.
Yeah. Remember last week we were talking about that series called Blood Drive. Well,
Apparently it was canceled. But
yeah,
anyway,
that's
so.
too bad because actually, but I'm not sure what they could have done in the second season.
No,
without,
I know. Actually, the last
Look at the-
few episodes were a little strange.
Yeah, well, very strange. But anyways, okay, so, Bev says I can't watch the 3D. It makes me so sick that I have to throw up. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Oh, I don't want to go to a show with you, Bev. Really, I don't want to be wearing anything like that. Okay, so questions and answers. I was just looking through some of the ones here. Someone sent us 3 pages of questions at one point. Let's see if there's anything here that might be kind of interesting. I don't know. Would you rather cuddle up with a book or a magazine?
Magazine.
No, the answer is me.
Oh, me. Oh. Magazine.
What would you rather cuddle
No,
up
so
with?
you said a book or a
You
magazine.
missed it. You didn't get it.
Oh.
Never mind. Oh, did you or do you have a nickname? And what's the story behind it? Wally. He hates being called Wally. He absolutely hates it.
Yeah, and the neighbor of his parents' place used to call
Always
me Wally
used to
all
call
the
you
time.
Wally.
Used to drive me nuts.
Yeah, well, my father called me for years when I was a little kid, Seb. Never understood why he called me Seb. S-E-B. Seb.
Stephen
Then I
Eric.
finally figured it out. It took me a while. It's my initials of my name. My middle name is Eric, so it was Stephen Eric Bland. Seb. Go for that for
I
original.
don't know if I ever had any nicknames. When I was young, one of the kids' fathers I used to hang around with used to call me Wacky Wally.
Well, you know, that's a discussion for another time.
My mother used to call me Mr. Excitement.
Yeah, well, there's people that say that about you now because the look on your face usually scares. That's why that woman got pissed off, because when you went after her,
Well, you know,
although the words out of your mouth were polite, the look in your eyes.
yeah, you
was
know,
death.
I kind of look like I'm gonna kill you.
I'm gonna give me that drink now. I'm gonna rip off your arms. Yeah. Speaking of drink? Oh, bartender. Could be a little bit of a noise here for just a second. He's got to turn on the blender, and there's the noise.
Noise.
Oh, here's a question for you. What's your favorite way to spend a Saturday? I know the answer for you. Asleep. I don't know what. What do I do on Saturdays? Well, while he's sleeping, I'm usually down in my craft room doing something.
What you do every day?
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's my hobby. Just seeing if there was any other interesting ones here. I think most of the interesting ones we've answered already.
Most of the ice melted.
Oh, okay, so runny. Yeah, I don't see anything else there. So, if anybody has any questions while we're live on here, just post them and we'll answer them. And I'm just catching up here. Ian says, for me, it's any 50s, 60s, or 70s Japanese monster movie like Godzilla, cheesy but nice.
Well, I used to like those too. When I was a kid, I used to watch those on TV.
I never really got into them.
I used to watch all the Godzilla movies.
No.
I used to like all the Japanese movies. They were like...
The ones that are dubbed? Where
Yeah,
they're going...
yeah.
And underneath it says, hello.
Yeah. That and Mothra.
Mothra.
I used to like the old weird science fiction.
Or what about the Blob? Ian says, or maybe the
I
Blob.
used to like the Blob. The one with Steve McQueen.
I don't know if I ever... Yeah, I think I saw the Blob.
War of the Worlds.
Yeah. Oh, here. Evie's got a question. How did you guys meet, and was it love at first sight, if you don't mind me asking? Guess Evie missed that question.
I missed
that was
one. That was...
We met through a personal ad in a newspaper. It was 1983. And so there was really no internet in 1983 for the general consumer. So today, you know, you have all those different dating things. So it was a personal column in a newspaper. And
well, that's basically because I didn't know how else to meet another guy. So
Mm-hmm.
and so
well, on that day,
knew,
things were very underground.
I knew that they had the personal column, so he placed an ad and I answered it. So
actually, I placed an ad because another friend of mine told me this is what you should do, and I said no. Placing an ad in newspapers for losers. You know, that's who answers those. I had actually answered a couple of ads myself before this time period. And yeah, it was all just weird and a lot of nuts out there. So they said, but no, he said, the way you word it and these replies will come to you in the mail. It's very discreet the way they'll come to you, and you can pick and choose. You know, you can decide who you want to contact or who you don't want to contact because they don't have your contact information. All they have is a post office box number at the newspaper. So I gave it a try. I got about 40 letters, which, by the way, I never saved them. I destroyed them all. Which, you know, I kind of wish I hadn't, because looking back on it now, those would have been hilarious to read again. Because some of the things, and well, I can't get into it because some of it was a little X-rated on there as well. But I met about 6 people from out of the 40, and every one of them, no, were weird. I couldn't get rid of them fast enough. And on the last day that the ad could possibly be seen and I could get any answers from, I got a single letter, and it was his. And I read it. He was a local guy, and I thought, well, he sounds like boring. But I gave him a phone call, and after I gave him the phone call, and we arranged to meet, but after I got off the phone, I went, boring. And I was younger. I mean, it was 34 years ago. Okay, I was younger. I don't know what I had in my mind. I probably had like, oh, this Greek god was going to ascend from heaven and carry me off on a unicorn or something. I don't know. And when he showed up at my apartment, I opened the door. No unicorn. No Greek god. No. I thought, well, okay.
I was really skinny then.
Yeah.
I used to run a lot.
Yeah, and you had hair.
And I had hair.
He had hair.
And
my hair was darker.
I used to run a lot, and I was
skinnier too.
Pretty skinny.
Well, we're not huge people now, but we're not svelte. So anyways, I invited him in, and we had a couple of drinks, and we had a nice, pleasant chat and whatnot, and I just figured, well, okay, I'll be polite to him, but I'll probably never see him again, and off he goes. But we did decide to see each other again. I thought, well, you'd be a nice person to hang out with, go to the movies with.
We actually just started being social. He had a group of friends that he was hanging around with, so we all sort of started hanging around together. And then I always wanted to drive out west as a holiday, and he had the same vision. So about a year before, I was supposed to go out west with another guy, and he got a full-time job. And didn't have enough holidays to take to go away. So I was able to take. I can't remember exactly how that happened. I think it saved a week from the year before.
You must have, because we're gone 3 weeks.
Yeah, I took 4 weeks off, but we were gone for 3 weeks. We decided to both drive out west, and
way across Canada.
We were in close confines with each other for 3 weeks. That sort of
and we didn't kill each other.
Yeah, we didn't kill each other. We had a lot of fun.
Yep.
And that sort of cemented our relationship. So
yeah, and it went from there and on.
And that sort of.
Yep.
Yeah.
It took us 4 years before we moved in together with each other. We bought a house together, and now we're in our second house. And of course, you know that we got legally married in 2005, so we've been legally married for 12 years now as well. So. And just as soon as his investments get to a certain level where I will know that I can grow accustomed to that style of living, I'm having him killed. Yay! Wills are all there. No problem. Okay, now, looking back here. And so Evie says, was it love at first sight?
No.
No. Not even close. I don't know if it is anymore. Yeah. Well, I guess we're fine.
We get along good, so.
So Susie Q says, now that Walter's retired, isn't every day a sleep day?
No, it's not. I don't get up as early as I used to, but not that I got up early.
You didn't get up that early either. Of course, you don't go to bed until 3 o'clock in the morning, too.
Yeah, they were pretty lenient with me at work. I used to show up at 9:30, so.
Yeah, you were lucky that they gave you flex time. Of course, you stayed later, though, than most of them went from 8 to 4.
No, official time was supposed to be 8:30 to 4:30, but you could flex your time up till 9:30 in the morning. So I always went at 9:30, and then I'd stay till 5:30 to work. So, but everybody else pretty much has left. That's not true. And there's another girl I worked with, Rebecca. She's even worse than I was. She'd show up. Now she's a manager. She doesn't show up till 10.
So. Oh, well, jeez. Like, that's nice. So what else have we got here? Dorothy asks, how long have you been art journaling, Stephen? Well, I've been art journaling now for 3 years, maybe. I'm trying to remember the first time I actually did something that could be called an art journal. I think I saw it on YouTube, of course, where I see everything. And I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go. I was getting kind of tired with doing scrapbooking, per se. I mean, that's what I started out doing, and I liked it. And I've got volumes and volumes and volumes filled with scrapbook pages. But I guess what art journaling did for me that turned me onto it was it used a lot of the products, but you had more freedom. And that's the big problem. When I teach my art journaling classes to newbies into it, this is what I tell them. First thing is, if you are a type A personality, meaning, you're the kind of person that has to work towards perfection and that everything has to be exactly in a certain position on the page and it's got to look this way and that, you will never do art journaling. You have to just go in without a plan, basically, or only have a slight idea of what you're going to do, and do it. And don't worry about it. And the other thing you have to get over in art journaling, I found, and this really helped me a lot with the art, is try to get over your inner critic, because you're always your own worst critic. And that, the fear of the white page, the fear that this won't be good enough, just do it. Not every page is going to be good enough, but that doesn't matter. It's the process. So, yeah, I've been doing art journaling, so about probably 3, maybe almost 4 years now. But I do all kinds of crafts. So, if it's new or something out there or something different, I do it. Let's see. Ian says, or where am I? I'm behind here. Oops. The first workable prototype of the internet came in the late 1960s with the creation of ARPANET. Yeah, but most people didn't have it.
Yeah, in fact, I don't think we really got involved in it. We got involved in it early.
Because
actually, the other thing is my job was always computer technology and stuff like that. But I didn't really work with PCs that much. But he got involved with PCs much earlier, pretty much when PCs became popular for the home.
Yeah, my first one was a ColecoVision.
But actually, probably before PCs became popular in the home. And he got into the very early workings of the internet before they had browsers, before, you had nice pictures and that. And I got involved in a lot of
when it was all primarily text.
Yeah, and so we played around with that for a bit. And but really... it wasn't until browsers became more available and stuff like that that people really kind of started using it for dating or something like that. So
and it's just
that was way beyond when we met.
Oh yeah, and well, look where what we're doing now today. Here we are on the internet live, so can't live without it. If I have to give up my toaster or the internet, what's going first? The toaster. Yep. Let's see. Evie says, such a sweet story, thank you. And even though not love at first sight, both of you are still alive, so it was, yes, I still remember the newspaper ads of those days too. Okay. And now, Meliard asks, who are your favorite artists, traditional and or mixed media, and why are they so special to you? Well, my favorite artist is probably Emily Carr and Lauren Harris, and they're traditional. Lauren Harris was a member of the Group of Seven. Emily Carr painted at the same time as the Group of Seven. Her works are just as good as any of the members of the Group of Seven, but she couldn't be a member of the Group of Seven because it was chauvinistic in those days. It was an old boys club. No women allowed. In fact, women in the early part of the 20th century around the world were not taken seriously as artists. Most women in the upper classes went to school and learned how to do some light watercoloring or something like that. But that's all they felt that a woman was capable of. Very sexist. And the Group of Seven fell into that line. Emily Carr, a lot of people think Emily Carr was a member of the Group of Seven, and she should have been, but she couldn't because she was a woman. But I love her stuff. I also love Lauren Harris as well. So those are traditional ones. I like a lot of different art.
Yeah, like for me, art has changed over the years as to what I've liked. I sort of grew up in a family that was somewhat artistic, and they painted more traditional. My grandfather painted a few paintings that were more traditional European style, and so I always like, Rembrandts and so I always like,
Get an echo here.
Yeah.
Good.
Rembrandts and European masters, which I still like, but then over time I've sort of developed liking towards more Canadian art, which is the Group of Seven, and Lauren Harris. I like Lauren Harris, and who did that one?
Carmichael.
And yeah,
we have a Group of Seven on our wall, not an original, it's a print.
Yeah, it's a print, and but I like that style, and now I've sort of liked some of the more modern art. I like looking at it and sort of deciding whether I like it or not. So
yeah, so
I mean, my tastes have changed over the years. So
yeah, well, we used to, when we first started traveling, we would seldom ever go into an art museum, art gallery. Now,
and like
we do.
And because I do stained glass, one of the things that always fascinated me was stained glass and Tiffany and Company, and that did the Tiffany lamps and things. So that was something that always fascinated me. That's why I started doing stained glass.
Dorothy says she does better with ATCs. I'm actually teaching a class in December with ATCs. Let's see, what else is here? Ian says, had she joined, meaning Emily Carr, they would have had to change their name to Group of 8. Yeah. Yes, couldn't have that. They'd already decided 7 was the number. And Ian also says, you have just reminded me I'm getting my Rembrandt's watercolor paints at the end of the month. Are they original to Rembrandt? Were they his paints first? Yeah, no. Okay, so that was a few questions there. I don't see any more at the moment, so let's press on. If you have some more questions, though, by all means, put them up. Here's Evie's got one. Is there any place you both travel to you could imagine living there? Yeah, Australia. That's what I would say. Or even, I could live in Holland.
No, I don't think you could.
I don't know. I'm used to you.
My grandparents were from Holland. We'd visit, but even when we visited, I don't know, as Canadian, I think that it's too congested. There's too many people in a small place, and we're used to a little bit more freedom here.
Yeah, I love my own country. Always have. I mean, I really can't imagine living somewhere else in the world than here. But if I was forced to have to leave Canada, I would definitely seriously consider either New Zealand or Australia. Because, well...
Probably because it's similar.
It's kind of like Canada.
It's kind of similar to here, only it's warmer.
Yeah, it's warmer. Sue says, Stephen, you do make me laugh, and you make a great pair. Thanks, Sue. And Ian says, or Yorkshire. Yeah, we've never really... Yes, we have been to Yorkshire. When on one of those very first trips we ever took, the bus things where we went to...
We kind of like England, too.
Yeah, I like England.
We've been to England quite a few times, so we kind of like England. But in Canada, when you... Canada really does have a lot of British roots. And a lot of our humor is based on British humor, so... we get all the jokes in Britain and everything. Whereas I know Americans don't, because we've been on a few trips where we've been in England, and there have been Americans with us, and they don't seem to get the British humor as much.
Well, it's the language too.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, not only
it's
that, the
different
language,
phrase,
because we're also used to the different terms in Britain for different things, like the parts of the cars are different and stuff like that.
The
so
bonnet and the boot.
We do know quite a bit of terms that are used in Britain that we're used to here, because we've seen a lot of British programming and stuff like that.
So well, because it's our roots too. Ian says he has family here in Canada. Okay, so I was looking for an issue to talk about, and I got thinking about this week. We've had the big bout of calls about duck cleaning. And I don't know in the places where others of you live, but we get these unsolicited phone calls that come through, and they're trying to sell us a service where they clean out our ducts. Now, I don't mean ducts as in quack quack. I mean ducts as in the piping through your house that channels your central heating
Yeah, because
system.
in Canada, what we have, most people have here is in our houses, we have a furnace somewhere in your house to heat your house or cool your house. We have a furnace somewhere in your house, and the heat is what they call forced air gas, or forced air electric, or forced air oil, and it's whatever the fuel is that your furnace is. It's electric, oil, or gas, and it blows air through pipes, which we call ducts, and the pipes go to various locations in your house. So, the air blows through and heats or cools your house. So there's these services around that will come and clean your ducts, and all it is like sucks out any dust or whatever out of your ducts. But most of the time, the ducts are pretty clean to begin with.
I mean, if you moved into a really old house that had never had this done, it might be worth your effort to hire somebody to clean out the ducts. But we live in we're the only people that have ever lived in this house, and our house is not, you know if your ducts are really dusty because you dust, and the next day you have as much dust as you dusted off laying on top of everything.
Right.
And so that would be a sign that you've got a real major problem. Well, we don't have that. So, right. But these are fly-by-night companies. They are run by third-party telephone services, you know, out of India or something like that. You always know it's like, hello, we would like to talk to you about your duct cleaning. And they try and
give you a $99 package, which normally a good duct cleaning probably would cost you $200 or $300 to do it properly. And the $99 service, it's been all over the news that they're kind of scams. They come in and do this stuff, and basically they don't do much of anything. So
no. So I like to, depends on, most of the time I just hang up on them. But I want to engage them sometime. Well, I've tried this before when they go, hello, we're talking about duct cleaning. Oh, I'm so glad you called. Yes, can you tell me your price per duct? Oh, well, how many rooms do you have in your house? Well, no, I'm not interested in rooms. I want to know how much per duct. Well, then you tell the guy duct.
You got 5,000 rooms.
Oh, I did that one too. No, how much for my ducts? In fact, actually, I'm not really that interested. The ducts aren't that dirty. Do you clean goats? I have a couple of dirty goats. Would you clean the goats? And usually I get silence on the other end, and then I hear the phone go dead. But one time they called too, and I says, yes, I'm very interested in duct cleaning service. Okay, what? How many rooms in your house? I said 5,000. There's a pause. Yeah. Okay, and how big is your house? 1,000,000 square feet. Okay, now I figured at this point he'd just hang up on me. Oh no, more questions, just moving right along with it. So finally I just hung up on him. But they are so annoying. They usually come when you're about to sit down to have dinner.
We had them phone 4 times
in one day.
One day on Friday.
Yep.
And most of the time I see a number come up, it's a long distance number, and I say don't bother answering it.
Yeah, because they're trying to sell us something with it. And the other one that calls too, and these ones though, I don't want to say anything nasty to them because they're charities. There's about 3 different charities that are constantly calling you. You get at least 1, sometimes 2 calls a week, different charities, but the same thing. They want to know if you have any used clothing to donate to them because they take them off and they sell those to make money for like cystic fibrosis, muscular dystrophy, whatever, all this kind of stuff. And, you know, okay, I do give, if I've got stuff, I give it to them, but I don't have, it's not like I go out, I buy an outfit on Monday, wear it on Wednesday, and give it to them on Friday. I mean, that's how frequently the calls come. Mm-hmm. And I actually did call somebody for one of the groups and talk to somebody that was in charge and said, look, I don't mind donating to you, but why am I getting a call every week from you? Once a month would be good. Once every 2 months would be better. And she says, oh, I'm sorry about that. We'll put a note next to your number or something like this. No, they didn't. I still get the calls all the time. So I'm polite to those people, though, because those are volunteers making the calls and whatnot. And I just said, no, I'm sorry. I don't have anything for you this month. Bye-bye. Thanks for calling. Drop dead. Whatever. So, yeah, so that's what pisses me off this week is like all these stupid calls. And our government needs to do something about it. Oh, and there's, of course, the scams, right? The one where they call you to say that they have reports that your computer is not working properly and they can help you with that. Yeah, and then they want you to download this little software package that you put on. It takes only a few minutes, and then they can take control of your computer, and that's when they go in and they copy all of your files and all of your sensitive information off your computer. And that scam's been going on forever. And I kept them on the line one day, too. I played really stupid. They're saying, okay, so, and it's Indian again. I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody with this horrible Indian accent, but you know what it is. So they said to me something about, okay, what do you see on your screen right now? Well, pictures. I have little pictures. Oh, okay, now if you can get into your web browser. What's a web browser? You know, the thing you use to connect to the internet. Well, I just turn it on. No, and they were getting frustrated with me, and I went on and on. Like when there was now push any key. I'm looking at my keyboard. I see A, B, Q, W. I don't see anyone that says any key on it. No. What's beside your control key? What's a control key? Nothing. I don't have a control key. Went on, they got somebody else to come online who was in a supervisory position, I think. Asked me some more questions. I played stupid on that. Finally, they figured it out that I was having them. But I figured, you know, you're wasting my time. I'm going to waste yours for a while on here. So it made me feel better. I don't think it changed anything, but, you know. What we got here? Evie says Holland is really cool, but it's small. That's true. I think besides the weather, England is a very nice place to live. And Ian says like an old chimney sweep. Oh yeah, for about the ducks. And Susie says that is ducks, pronounced ducks. Yeah, D-U-C-T-S is actually how you spell it, but it's pronounced like the animal or like the bird. Melliart says I would like to visit Holland. Wonderful country and great art. Yeah, it's a pretty cool country. The last time we were in Holland, we had to rent a car, so we drove around, all around. It's not that hard to get around in Holland. Like, it's not that big a country. Although we were visiting his aunt and uncle at the time, and they wanted to know what we were doing the next day, and we said, well, we're going to drive here, there, and whatnot. I go, you can't possibly do that in one day. I think it was 400 kilometers or something.
Yeah, 400 kilometers. For us, 400 kilometers is a breeze.
Yeah,
like, I mean, it's 4 hours. So
it's 4 hours, big deal. That's how long it takes you to get to Ottawa.
My cousin drives, she lives 4 hours outside of the town her mother lives in Zwolle, and she lives in Germany, and it's 4 hours to get there, and she's always complaining about how many times she has to stop to get there, and 4 hours for us. 4 hours for us is from here to Ottawa, and Ottawa, our capital. And I remember one time for work having to go to a lunchtime meeting in Ottawa. We got up early, drove to Ottawa, had our lunchtime meeting, drove back to get back home again in one day. So for us, it's like, oh, that's not too bad.
No. Actually, Melliart says, Walter, is your family from Europe?
Yes. My parents are from Holland. They immigrated to Canada in 1954. They were from a town called Zwolle, and I was born in Canada in 1958, and I had two older sisters that were both born in Holland, and they came over when they were young. My mother did try to go back. At one point in time, she was disappointed with Canada, and so she she was homesick for Holland, so she went back when I was 3. With the intention of moving back for good. But by that point in time, they had integrated with Canadian society so much that they didn't feel comfortable being back in Holland again. So my mother decided to come back and live the rest of her life permanently here.
And so, but Walter was born here.
Yeah, I was born in Oshawa General Hospital.
And it's never been the same since. So some questions here. Ian says 4 hours for us is a long drive. Yeah, that's why I've heard from a lot of people that live in England or
But for us, it
in
doesn't
Europe.
seem to be. Well, Canada's so big. A lot of people in Europe and England and don't realize how big Canada is. We drove to the West Coast when in 1983 or 1984 after we met,
Yeah.
and that trip in 3 weeks' time, we drove all the way to the West Coast and we drove all the way back, but we drove through the northern United States on the way back. And that entire trip, I never forget. We arrived back at my house, and we went 10,005 kilometers
Yep.
during that trip.
For that whole trip.
For that whole trip, and just to go from here to Vancouver is about about 3,000, I think.
About
kilometers.
3,000 kilometers.
Depending on which route you take, and to the East Coast, it's short. It's about
East Coast is closer.
Is about 2,000 kilometers. So from this location, so Canada's huge, and a lot of people don't really understand that because my Holland being very compact. My aunt would say, or people would say when we went back to Holland, they'd say, "Oh yeah, well, we were going to come. We met some people that live in Canada, and we were going to go visit them, and then we were going to come by and see you." And I'd say, "Oh, well, where do the people live in Canada that you met?" And they said, "Oh, they lived in Vancouver." And I said, "Well, Vancouver's like 2,700, 3,000 kilometers away from us." And they just don't understand that. They just don't understand how it can be that far away.
I mean, you have to look at a map because we are the second largest land mass country in the world. Russia is number one. So, yeah, we're massive.
I mean, we fly to Vancouver. It's a 4.5 hour flight from where we live. And we're still in Canada. So,
Yeah, but we're used to driving those distances.
yeah, so
nothing.
distances for us is we live about 2 hours from Niagara Falls, and going there 2 hours is nothing for us to drive. So, and 4 hours really isn't a lot either. Montreal from here is 6 hours, and we've often driven to Montreal.
Yeah.
In a day, and actually usually nonstop. So.
Yeah. Well, Evie says, oh, I can imagine that's so good that after living in a place as big as Canada for some years that it would be hard returning to a tiny country like Holland. I guess. Yeah, I would think so.
Well, Holland's it's compact, but we're used to a lot of open space here. So.
Yeah, Ian says he can get in a car from Yorkshire to London in just about over 4 hours. And Meliart says, but thank God you don't have Siberia. Well, no, but we have...
No, but we get pretty cold.
We have none of it.
We get pretty cold here. Yeah. During the winter, we can go to minus 30 here. So
yeah. Like where we live in Canada, we live in southern Ontario. Southern Ontario is the most southern part of Canada, so it's kind of the Florida of Canada. It doesn't get as hot as Florida, and definitely not in the winter. But it's a more, because we're on the Great Lakes, it's a microclimate.
It's hard to say. We don't get as cold as Western Canada. Western Canada can go to minus 40, minus 45 at night.
In the winter.
In the winter. Northern Canada can get much colder. In our southern area location, it's not unusual for us to hit minus 30 a couple of times during the winter. Yeah. Usually, minus 15 seems to be about average for the winter.
Yeah.
A lot of times, if you get the cold months, like January and February are cold months, and it can start freezing in January and not be under 0 degrees Celsius in or freezing temperatures, or in Canada, in this location, pretty much solid between January and February. So
yeah, so Meliart says weather over there is quite same as here. Well, Meliart, I believe you're Finland, right?
Right.
So you're the Baltics, and we've been to the Baltics, and actually the Baltics look very much like Northern Ontario.
Yeah.
We
took a cruise, and we went through past Stockholm, and when we were coming back through the area near Stockholm, on the cruise, we would look out our balcony and see that the landscape was very, very much like Canada. So it's very similar.
Yeah, and let's see. Bev says, I tried moving to California after living in Idaho for over 5 years, but I found that I didn't like it anymore, and I want to come back to Idaho, which I did. And then Dorothy asks, do you get snow every year?
Usually.
Yeah.
And we usually get a lot of it. But there has been a couple of winters where it's been mild,
Yeah.
and we don't get a lot of snow. But usually we get a fair bit of snow.
Yeah, and we don't get as much snow probably here as they get out west.
Yeah, or we don't get as much as Montreal gets because we live right on Lake Ontario. So Lake Ontario moderates our temperature a little bit. So we will get a lot of snowfall, but not as much as other parts of Canada. But even though we still get enough that when we'll get piles of snow out at the end of when we shovel our driveway, we get piles of snow at the end of our driveway. When you're driving around in the wintertime in your car, you can't see over the piles of snow, so you got to be really careful when you go around the corner. So
I used to like snow when I was a kid, but I don't like snow anymore, especially when you have to go out and you have to shovel it. Well, we don't shovel it. We have a snowblower.
So
that's the only way to go, is a snowblower or a kid down the street. That kind of thing. But it's also, it's icy, it's slippery when it starts to melt. When it's
well, I mean, one nice thing about it is that we're used to having snow, and we're used to driving around in snow. Usually people, first time it snows here, people forget from one year to the other how to drive.
Yeah. Well, Sarah says, welcome Sarah, we usually get lots of snow in Calgary. Oh yeah, you get more than we do all the time, and it's colder there. I mean, out west in their parking lots, they have plug-ins for the cars. They're called a block heater. You plug it into an electrical outlet, and it keeps the engine warm so it doesn't freeze over, so you can start your car. We don't have that in Ontario.
No, we don't have the plug-ins, but I have had block heater in my car. Actually, I think my current car doesn't have a block heater.
Yeah.
But sometimes when it gets really cold out here, I'll plug it in it starts up a lot faster. So
Ian says a bad one for us is -15, and Sarah says then we get a Chinook and the snow melts. Yeah, and if you don't know what a Chinook is, it's basically a warm wind.
Spell.
A warm spell, but it's a warm wind, and it just it suddenly makes everything feel like spring for a while, but it's misleading.
Yeah, it's funny because here you're so used to cold weather in January and February. We usually have 1 week in January and February that is what we call January thaw or something, and it's a week where it's unusually warm, and unusually warm for us is like obviously above freezing.
Yeah, that's called a balmy day.
It's funny around here because it can be above freezing. It can be like 5 degrees Celsius or something like that. And if it's sunny, you'll see people walking around in shorts.
In shorts. Yeah.
In the snow.
The idiots.
Right? Or people wear a lighter coat or something like that.
Yeah, well, because especially in some winters, if we've had a tough winter, everybody's just dying for that sun. So the first time there's a warm day, suddenly people are out. Okay, I'm wearing my shorts.
In the beginning of the winter, people aren't acclimatized to it, so everybody freezes to death when it gets cold. And then in the spring, when because we've gone through a lot of cold winter, you'll get a day that's somewhat warm, which is like 15 degrees Celsius or something, and everybody will be out walking around in their shorts and because their coats come off and everything, everybody feels like it's warm because they were so used to it being cold.
That's why so many Canadians will go in the wintertime down to Florida, and some people who are retired buy property in Florida, and they live down there for 6 months, half of the year. The half of the year up here when it's really cold, they're down there, and they call them the snowbirds.
We always laugh. We've been to Florida a few times, and it can get, if you can see people that are used to being in Florida all the time, and what we consider warm weather, they figure it's cold. And we're still walking around in shorts and t-shirt, and they're all bundled up. So.
Yeah, it might be 18 degrees C or 19 degrees C or something like that, and they figure that's cold. So, Melly says too, same here with cars, I think meaning the plug-ins.
Yeah.
They would have that, which would make sense. So, yeah, Winter.
But we get used
it's
to it.
coming. We've right now we've had a spell of really warm weather.
Unusually warm weather
for October.
Yeah, for October. Normally, a lot of our leaves are gone by now from the trees.
Well, they've changed.
Or they've changed
by
now, and our trees are still green outside. We've had 23, 24 degree weather this week, and it's very unusual for Canada to be this warm at this time of year.
Yeah. So, Ian, what's the weather been like over in England in the last week? Or what's coming up? Do you know the long distance forecast for next week?
I was reading London. It was supposedly 17, 18 next week.
Oh, well, that's balmy.
That's not bad.
I wasn't packing any shorts. Maybe I should reconsider with it. So anyways, let's talk a little bit about that, what we've got planned, what we're going to see when we do the London trip this time. And as you've heard us say before, we've been to London several times. But this time we're going to be much more adventuresome. We've done all the tourist stuff.
We've done all the Tower of London, the London Bridge,
Buckingham Palace,
London Eye, the Shard. We've done all that stuff already. So what we're looking for more is areas that we haven't been. So I've looked up a few museums that we haven't been to yet. There's a few areas, shopping areas, and that markets that I think would be interesting to see. And then we're also going. Also looked up. He likes scrapbooking, so I looked up some scrapbooking or some hobby type shops that might be interesting.
You found all kinds, actually.
So
I didn't think there would be that many in London because what I'm hearing people say on YouTube and stuff, it always seems like they can't get anything.
And then we may just play it by ear type of thing as to where we are at one point in time. See what we see. Yeah,
Dorothy says London is always warmer than the north. Yeah, well, yeah, I think most cities are because of the way they're designed. Like, well, with so many buildings and stuff, there's an awful lot of heat just generating out from the buildings and the infrastructure, that kind of thing. So, yeah, this time we're going to explore, what was that area?
Brick Lane?
Yeah, Brick Lane. Looked kind of interesting. And Shoreditch.
Shoreditch, I think that's pretty close to that area.
Is that area? We've been to the Camden Market area too, but I think we missed some things the last time we were there.
Yeah,
we didn't go possibly far enough, so we're going to try that again. Ian says, look up Jackson's Art in London.
Okay.
And what else to say? What?
Jackson's Art.
And Ian also says, anything from 10 to 20, bring a warm coat. Yeah, we will be bringing
we'll be bringing stuff that's warmish.
Evie says, Stephen, are you going to visit Mike Deacon's shop too? Do I not? Is your name Stephen?
Okay.
No, if it said Walter, I'd let you address
it.
All right,
fine.
Yes, fine. Well, whatever. Let's have a domestic. No, I forgot the question. All right, we're going to visit Mike Deacon's shop. Well, he doesn't actually have a shop. I think he did at one time, according to his YouTube. I think he did have a store. But he doesn't have it anymore. But he does sell stuff online. Like he designs stencils and he does digi-downloads and some of his art and things like that. I actually reached out to him on Facebook because I do talk to him every now and then on Facebook. And I said to him that we were coming to London on such and such dates. And if by any chance, I knew there was probably no chances, but you never know. If you don't ask, you don't know. I said, if you happen to be in London when we're there, and if you got time, I'd really like to meet up for a drink or lunch or something like that because, it would be really kind of neat. But he said, no, actually, they very seldom go into London. And I asked him how far Leeds was from London. He told me it was about 3 hours to where they are in Leeds. So, because we're not going to have a rented car or anything like that. And I suppose we could take the train and go out there. But that's 3 hours. Well, maybe less on the train, something like that. But, to go out there and then come back, and that's, we're only there for 8 days. So, no, I know that there's Art from the Heart, which is Dina Rivoli's store, I think. That's there. I would love to go there. But then again, the stuff that she has in that store is all Ranger products, and it's stuff that we can get here too. But just, Deanne Rivoli. I mean, not that necessarily she'd be there, but no, I'm sorry to say that I don't think that's in the cards. Not on this trip, but who knows. Ian says that's up north, yeah. And Evie says, oh, I didn't know that he's closed. At one point in time, he had a shop. Yeah, I don't know how long he's been closed. I've just pieced that information together from the things he has said on his vlogs, on his channel over the time that I've been watching him. And I never miss one of his videos. I'm addicted to Mike Deacon almost as much as I'm addicted to Tim Holtz. Okay, so yeah, we're going to go and search out these places. We're just going to walk a lot of it. Take the subway out to, or as you call it, the tube, out to maybe further out than we've gone before. Yeah, see where the real people are, kind of a thing. Yeah, we'll just, whatever comes up, comes up. We mentioned that new design museum to go there. We talked about, there was something else that you said something, oh, the Victoria and Albert again museum.
Yeah, we went there last time, but wouldn't mind going back.
Yeah,
so.
it's a really cool museum. But I don't think, no, did we do the science?
I don't think we did science.
I don't think
we did the Natural History Museum.
No. So anyways, lots of things to do. Ian says, from London to Leeds on the train is 2 hours, but it's expensive. So Ian, when you say it's expensive, what would be a round trip from London to there in pounds? Like,
because our train system isn't very good here.
No, our train system sucks here.
And we have no high-speed trains, so
no.
It takes just as long. If it takes 6 hours to drive to Montreal, it takes 6 hours on the train, if not longer.
If not longer, and it's...
and our trains are expensive. Very expensive.
Yeah. We haven't been on a train in ages. I think the last time we were on a train was when we went to, was it Montreal? That time? Way back. That's years ago.
And I looked at it more recently last time we were in Montreal. I think it takes 6 hours to drive to Montreal. I think it takes 8 hours on train.
Ian says about 150 pounds maybe. So that's about $300.
That's quite a bit.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's expensive.
I mean, our trip to Paris alone is only, it's $125 each return. So, which is, I find, is cheap.
Yeah. Evie says, have you been to Madame Tussauds in London? No,
yes, we have, but it was a long time ago. And actually, that's on my list of...
Oh, that way back on one of our very first trips.
So that may be a possibility.
That's a possibility, yeah. We have a Madame Tussauds here in Ontario, too, in Niagara Falls as well. But, of course, I don't imagine
it's not as extensive.
I don't think it's as extensive as the one in London, because that's the original. It doesn't matter whether you spelled it right or wrong, Evie. I knew what you were talking about. How about the British Museum? Yep, we've been there several times. I love the British Museum, too. In fact, the last time we were there, I was so excited again to go because I love to go and look at the illuminated texts. And then we got there and we couldn't find them. And then we asked somebody and said, yeah, they moved them to the British library. So we went there and saw them, which was interesting, too. So I don't know. We'll do what we will do, and it's like we're not on anybody's schedule except our own schedule. So, yeah, it's fine. Of course, we will have to go back to both to Harrods and to Selfridges as well. And by the way, those of you that come from the United Kingdom, I don't know if you realize it, but Selfridges is actually owned by Canadians.
Yeah.
It's by the Weston family. They bought it. They own a huge supermarket chain here in Canada called Loblaws. And there's a whole bunch of branches off of that. But they own Selfridges as well. So really, it's just a little piece of home. Mm-hmm. Not really. There's products in there are a little different from what we can get here. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we got lots of things. I can't think of anything else much to talk to about tonight, and we're pretty much getting up there to the hour-and-a-half mark, so that's probably more than enough time. We didn't break the record. We're sitting at 15 now. That's our high for tonight. We didn't get over 17. Oh well. We get a lot of rebroadcast views, and that's okay. And it's not the quality or the quantity, it's the quality of the people watching. That's what it is. Ian says, we don't own any of our country now. It's all sold off.
Yeah, well, that's basically it in Canada, too.
Yeah.
A lot of American companies own our stores. Yeah. We still have a few straggler stores that are Canadian-owned, like Canadian Tire.
Yes, Canadian Tire. Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's a whole other story.
Or as we like to refer to it in Canada, crappy tire.
Yeah.
With it, but that's a story for another time. So I think we're going to sign off. Thank you for joining us tonight. Now, there will not be one next week unless we have a really good Wi-Fi connection. Then we can do a short live broadcast at some point because we'll be in London. I am going to have a vlog this Monday because we don't leave Toronto until 8:50, and so we don't have to be in to Toronto until middle of the afternoon, kind of a deal. So I'll do my weekly vlog. I may try to do a short vlog the Monday following. We'll still be in London. Again, all that depends on the connection of things as well. Sarah says Tim Hortons. Yes, Tim Hortons. But Tim Hortons is actually owned by an American company now.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, it is owned by an American company now. Actually, it's the company that owns Burger King.
Okay. So bye-bye, Melanie. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you all again. And have a good week. We'll be thinking about you when we're in London. Yeah, probably not, but whatever. Okay, we'll see you next week or sometime soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.